What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Bienvenidos. Today we are doing a winter foundation routine. I'm going to show you step by step what I do to get a look like this. This is what I do on almost like an everyday basis, or when I do wear makeup, this is what I will do. It's full coverage. It's not cakey. It prevents oils, like all of the good stuff. You guys know I have oily, acne prone skin. I have acne scars, all of that stuff. So with this makeup look, you can see it's like super full coverage, but it doesn't look cakey or heavy on the skin, and it looks really flushed. And I don't want to say natural because it's a lot of makeup, but it's more on the natural side as far as makeup looks. I just love looks like this. It just enhances all of your features, and I don't know, I just really love looks like this. So I hope you all enjoy it as well. If you're new to my channel, hello, welcome. I'm Sabrina, or Marie J, here on YouTube. You can subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Down below there's a red subscribe button. Click it, and there's a bell as well. You can click that if you want to get a message on your phone or on your laptop, wherever. If you want to get notified when I upload new videos and you want to be the first one to know, make sure to click that bell. And let's jump into the video. Actually, before we get started, I wanted to let you know that this video right here is the first video of an oily skin series that I'm starting here on my channel. I saw last year that a lot of you enjoyed my oily skin videos, so I decided to make an entire playlist on videos that are related to oily skin. So it's going to be hacks, tips, tricks, recommendations, and all that good stuff. So I'm going to link the playlist down below in the description box, and there are going to be a few older videos on there, but this video here is the first video that is dedicated to this series. Now let's get into the video. All right, so to prep my skin and get it ready to go for foundation, I'm using the Glossier Priming Moisturizer. This is like a really thick hydrating moisturizer. I find that this one's kind of similar to the Olay one that I've tried recently, which I'm going to feature in like my drugstore version of my foundation routine. But I'm just putting this all over my skin, and it makes my skin feel really soft. The only thing I'm not a fan of when it comes to this moisturizer, that it smells like medicina. That's the only thing. And to add even more hydration and to make my skin look even more glowy and dewy and fresh, I'm going to apply some of my Mario Badescu facial spray. This is the rose water, so I'm just gonna spritz this all over. And this smells amazing too. I do want to get the bigger bottle. And you can see by applying those two products, my skin looks really hydrated, it looks glowy, and it looks healthy. Although you can obviously see my acne scars. We know that those are like not going to go away for a while. I'm working on it. But you can see my skin, besides the acne scars, is looking really healthy before applying anything else on top. And I like doing this, especially in the wintertime. I take extra time with skin because I'm using mattifying products on top so my makeup lasts. In the wintertime, if I do a matte moisturizer and then I do a matte primer and a matte spray, it ends up looking dry and flaky. It'll work for me maybe in the summertime when my skin is like super oily, but right now when the weather's a little cold, when sometimes it rains here and there, I don't like to use everything mattifying. From there, we can go ahead and jump into foundation. I'm using a combination of two foundations, but I'm not necessarily mixing them together. What I'm doing instead is almost priming with the foundation. I don't even know if that makes any type of sense, but I first go over with my Fenty Beauty foundation, and I don't put a lot. You'll see once I show you, but then I go over top with the Huda Beauty foundation. And let's go ahead and let me show you. Taking about half a pump of my Fenty Beauty foundation, so just a tiny bit, and I buff it into my skin. I don't tap it and create a thick layer. All I do is I spread it where I have my acne and in my T-zone, because that's where I get oily, and I buff this and blend this so it's almost like a very thin layer of foundation. Of course, you can just go in with a primer, but this is just what has been working for me, and I find that it lasts longer for me than using like a long wear or a mattifying or a blurring primer. And it created a thin layer of coverage, but you can still see acne, you can still see the glow. It's not like I did a thick heavy layer at all. So from there, what I do is apply my Huda Beauty foundation. This is my primary foundation for the day. It's the one that I feel like wearing. I like this one because it has full coverage, and I love the finish of it. Plus the color matches perfectly with me. So I go over top with this one. And because I already did a thin layer of the Fenty Beauty, I go in with only half a pump of the Huda Beauty because I don't need a full pump since I already did a sheer layer of coverage with my like long wearing matte foundation. So I'm going to take the Huda Beauty, and I know I'm talking a lot in this video, but I'm trying to multitask here. So yeah, you can see the Huda Beauty is adding coverage, and this color blends a lot better with my neck. And I really wanted to share like this little tip hack that I've been doing, because I always get questions like, how do you make your makeup full coverage but it doesn't look cakey, but it keeps you matte like for a long time and it's long wearing? And that's what I do, is instead of a primer, instead of adding that layer of primer, I just do a really thin layer of my favorite long lasting foundation, and it works perfectly. And that foundation works perfectly under any other one too. So that's what I've been doing lately, and you can see full coverage, but it looks really nice. For my under eyes to conceal and brighten a little bit, I'm using my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. This is in the color Ginger. I mentioned a lot of these products in my yearly favorites video, but what I'm doing is just swiping it underneath here, and then we'll do some on the cupid's bow, chin, and the forehead. I'm going to let this concealer sit a little bit before I completely blend it out so I can get the most coverage out of it. And meanwhile, I'm going over top with my Sephora Make No Mistake foundation and concealer stick. This is in the color 13 Walnut. You only need a little bit of this. If you apply too much, it's gonna end up looking crazy. So I just do a stripe there, stripe here, there, and there. And this is, I always get questions on what brush this is. This is a Morphe M492, and I'm just bringing that down and trying not to bring it low. Instead, I'm buffing it upwards. You can see this is also like the perfect bronzing shade for my skin tone. And to blend out my concealer, where's the brush? This one is my Morphe E8 brush. Lately, I haven't been using like a sponge as much. Sometimes I do, like if I'm really lazy to go to the sink and wet my beauty blender sponge, I'll just use my brushes because I don't feel like getting up. And with this brush, you can really go into like areas like this where it starts to crease, and the eyelids too, to make sure it doesn't get cakey there. Before I set that in place, I'm just gonna touch up again with the foundation stick just to make sure I didn't lose any of that bronziness. And then with whatever's left over on this brush, I go on top of my lids just to add a little bronziness there. I don't want it to look empty. I don't want it to look like I'm missing something on my eyes. Now we can set everything in place. I'm using my Laura Mercier translucent powder. Like I said, I'm going to do a drugstore version of this, so don't worry. I know I'm using a lot of high-end products. Just tap it all underneath here. And you can leave some like that if you want to bake, which I'll go ahead and do. I'll just leave it there for a little bit though. I don't usually bake a whole lot. I just press the product into my skin. I feel like my makeup lasts longer that way, and it looks better as well. So we'll just do a little tiny bit while I set the rest of my face. Okay, so most of my face is already set by this point. But we do need to set the bronzy areas. So I'm using this Makeup Forever Pro Bronze Fusion in the color 35L, I think it is, or I. And I'm using this EcoTools full powder brush. So good for bronzing your skin, seriously, and it's so easy. With this bronzer, you can go in with a heavy hand and it's not gonna come off heavy on your skin. So it's fine if you like pack some onto the brush. And then all I do is tap this all in my skin. Ugh, I love this combination, this bronzer with this brush. Like, look at that. Bronziness, 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 bronziness. And because this brush is so big, it's easy to work really fast with it. See how that brought some life back into my skin? It makes me look a lot more bronzy and like I have some color. I mean, sometimes I just stop here, throw on some gloss and some mascara, and I'm good to go. But for like my winter full coverage like routine, I do like to apply a little bit of a blush, I guess you can say. It's a bronzer, but the shade looks a lot more like a blush. Let me show you like a side by side. So these are the Becca Sunlit bronzers. This to me is more of a bronzy shade, right? And this one here looks more like a blush. I don't really see many or any skin tones wearing this color here. This is Maui Nights, wearing this color as a bronzer because it's really red. It looks like a blush. So I'm using this EcoTools Precision Blush. So right there, I know it looks crazy. I'm gonna blend it out. And then go over with the same bronzer brush and tap it all into my skin. It's all about tapping everything into your skin and really taking the time to blend. So once those two are meshed, it just makes you look so like sun-kissed but doll-like almost. And I don't use blush a lot, but in the winter time I like to use blush. Like I put some on the tip of my nose. It makes you look like you were just sitting outside in the snow for like a really long time and your cheeks are really flushed. And for highlighter, I'm using an eyeshadow as a highlight. This is the Kiko Milano 208 eyeshadow. So I'm just taking, this is my Morphe M501, taking that and applying it on the super high points of the cheeks, like all the way up here. Of course, the tip of the nose, little tiny bit here, just a little bit, and then on the Cupid's bow. Actually, I'll do some on my chin here, because around this time I can play a little bit more with highlight without worrying too much about my oily skin. Let's do mascara. This is the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise Mascara. Mascara. It's one of my favorites right now from the drugstore. It is drying out though, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. I have been loving these Laura Mercier Extreme, what are they called? Velour Extreme Matte Lipsticks. They sent me the whole collection and they are beautiful. The colors are crazy pigmented. Let me just show you some colors here. These last so long on the lips. It's crazy. It's almost like a creamy liquid lipstick. Just look at how pigmented they are, and they're really matte. So I'm gonna take the color, this is the color Vibe, and I'm lightly going to tap this on my lips. I do have lip balm on right now, and I'm not gonna take it off because I'm going for that natural-ish look on the lips for this entire look, really. So I'm barely going over top and adding some color. And then on the outer parts, I'm using the color Fierce. And then let's do some gloss on top. This is the Too Faced Melted Latex. Love this one. It's a thick like gloss, but it's not sticky either. So that right there is how I do my winter foundation routine. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. A lot of you seem to like looks like this when I do like full coverage natural glam, but let me know in the comment section if you enjoy more looks like this or if you like more of like the full coverage smoky eye super glam looks. But of course I had to kick off the new year with a look like this. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all, los quiero mucho, and I will see you all in my next video.